The same with obviously religious minority, the Baha'i, the Dervishi, the Ansari, and the Sunni. You know, again, the Arabs are mostly the Baluch are all Sunni and Turkmen are Sunnis, but the Arabs used to be mostly Shias, but they're converting a lot of them to Sunni. You know, but so that is called Wahhabi. You hear the regime said, oh, we actually some Wahhabi and Salafis. It's not. The Arabs are influenced by Arab Spring, you know, by Arabs in the region that are mostly Sunni, so they convert to Sunni, but they're executed for that. The justice system, you know, I myself, I remember when I was 13, 14 years old in Iran, I had to go with my parents to court because my parents didn't speak Farsi. Right? They were illiterate. If you're illiterate, you don't speak Farsi. Right? So here it is. You are in your land, your own country. You cannot speak the language of the prosecutor or the judge. And you know what? They don't even allow translators. So how can you expect administrative justice if you don't speak the language? And then the imbalance of distribution of resources. The Baluch area is probably the most underdeveloped area of the country. In our area, as I said, you know, 2011, the regime had $100 billion as a result of oil, that 90% of which comes from our land. None of it, and I mean zero of it is allocated to the region. There has been a piece of legislation, a bill that was introduced in 2004 by Khuzestan or Ahwaz during the Khatami regime by MPs. And the bill requests that 1.5% of the oil money, the export part of it, 2.5 million barrels of oil a day, that 1.5% to be allocated to Khuzestan or Ahwaz region for development. It has been defeated for the 4th time. So the imbalance of distribution is incredibly, whereas Isfahan, Yazd, Kerman, all the, you know, they are most resources go to these areas. In the Arab areas, 23 years after the completion of the Iran-Iraq war, these areas, Abadan, only 20% have been, you know, repaired, destruction, okay? The mines from the Iran-Iraq war, along the Iran-Iraq border, they still lay there. The regime deliberately doesn't demine it. You know Geneva 1, there's an organization in this town, very active. They contact me, they said, well, how can we go to your area, you know? I said, well, here's go to the embassy here, but they were not allowed to go to that area. The point here is that we think it's deliberate, it's part of the ethnic cleansing policy to depopulate the area from the Arab land and, you know, and bring later on a non-Arab, non-local, non-indigenous. So the ethnic restructuring and forced assimilation, it is across the board, but in the Arab areas, because of, unfortunately, there is the racist element to it too. You know, most Iranians knew, this is not new, that there's Arabcity, there's strong anti-Arab sentiment. It's been perpetuated, propagated by this regime and the Iranian, under the guise of, well, the Islam, the Arabs brought up Islam and we had our own, you know, civilization, which is a false. But nevertheless, there is a racist element to it against the Arabs, and so there is ethnic cleansing, you know, and this has been corroborated by, you know, other. Mr. Milan Kotari, the special rapporteur on housing, he was the last special rapporteur who went to Iran in July of 2005. He said, Google it. You know, he said that we think it's 450,000 acres have been forcefully taken away from Arab farmers, but he said 220,000 acres of Arab farmers' land have been taken over by the government and given to non-Arabs, non-locals. And then he says, and I'm quoting, quote unquote, he says, in the area, there is no basic services. This is a land that produces $100 billion a year, doesn't have running water, sewer system, and some villages, electricity or school. So Arab and Baluch, and especially in our area, oil industry is very big. You know, we always advocated some kind of quota system. Allow 20% of the workers to be local Arabs. None of that. So while the illiteracy among non-Arabs in the country, according to regime statistics, is 14% illiteracy. Among Arabs is much, much higher, and among the Baluch is much higher. So what that means, it translates to socio-economic issue. These people, undereducated, cannot speak Farsi, and therefore cannot get a job. And that's why the unemployment is incredibly high in the ethnic minority areas. Okay, so the illiteracy and unemployment go hand in hand, and if you don't speak, and also, as I said, we have evidence here that some people were fired from the oil industry, gas industry, drilling industry, because they were simply Arab. They had Arab name and they spoke Farsi with a very heavy accent, you know. There is a book by William Strong. So I think the name of the book is the British Imperialism in Southwest Iran historically. They say that Khuzestan or Al-Ahwaz was 98% Arab in 1908 when the first oil well was drilled. Now the Arabs are about 65, maybe 60%. So this is a trend to populate the province by non-indigenous people and force Arabs out of the province. The other thing is and this is again, you can Google it, the diversion of Karun River. Karun River is the biggest river in Iran. It runs to Arab areas. This Islamic Republic shamefully gets money from the World Bank, IMF and other. They diverted, after 8 years of construction, constructing 5 diversion dams to divert the Arab Karun River from the Arab areas to Isfahan, Rafsanjan, and Yazd. Okay, and this is a travesty. People, you know, you've seen pictures that people show the water that they drink is very bad, so the diversion of Karun River, it's really something that that the board attention. I brought it up to the attention of Special Rapporteur for War last November. And there's this new, the latest thing with Iran is called Arvan Free Zone. How many have heard about it? This is started 2005. The regime, if you are familiar with the map of Iran, they started a corridor of about 12 kilometers wide and 35 kilometers long from the southern part of where Shat al-Arab meets the Gulf, from Abadan or Osbe all the way to Shalamche along the Iran-Iraq border. And they call this free zone, you know. Under the free zone, there is a military scheme behind it, but even as is, it caused about 400,000 Arabs to be vacated from some 40 villages. Okay, so this free zone, Arvan Free Zone, and freeze, there's a website by this name. There's some Chinese and other companies have done. They want to do something like Dubai, okay? But the implication and the effect for the local population is eviction from their villages and homes, okay? And again, bringing workers from other non-Arab provinces And this is along that ethnic cleansing and ethnic restructuring and forced assimilation that I talked about. So I don't know about the time, but I will be more than happy to provide during the question and answer should there be any specific question. I thank you.